Have you ever met someone who completely changes your perspective on life? I have. And this is the story of how a chance encounter in the dazzling city of Dubai, between an engineer from here and another from the Philippines, led to an unexpected and life-altering friendship. My name is Ahmed, and for years, my world was built with steel, glass, and concrete. As a senior project manager in Dubai, I lived and breathed blueprints, deadlines, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. My days were a whirlwind of meetings, site inspections, and high-stakes decisions. The skyline I helped build was a testament to my ambition, each towering skyscraper a notch on my belt. But honestly, it was a lonely view from the top. My life was structured, predictable, and frankly, a bit colorless. I had colleagues, not friends. I had routines, not adventures. I thought this was what success felt like. Then, one scorching afternoon, our firm brought in a new team of specialists for a particularly complex project. That's when I met Leo. He was a structural engineer from the Philippines, and from the moment he walked into the conference room, I could tell he was different. While everyone else was stiff and formal, Leo had this infectious, easygoing smile. He introduced himself with a warmth that seemed to cut right through the icy air conditioning. My initial thought, he's too cheerful for this high-pressure environment. He won't last. I couldn't have been more wrong. On the job, Leo was a genius. He saw solutions where the rest of us saw problems. He had this incredible ability to visualize complex structural dynamics in his head, sketching out brilliant ideas on a notepad that left our entire team speechless. But it wasn't just his technical skill that stood out. It was his attitude. While we were all groaning under the pressure of a tight deadline, Leo would be humming a tune, sharing a funny story from his hometown, or offering to help someone who was struggling. He had this light about him, this unshakable optimism that started to chip away at my cynical exterior. One evening, after a grueling 14-hour workday, I was packing up, ready to head home to my empty, quiet apartment. Leo walked over and said, "Hey Ahmed, a few of us are going to grab some food. It's my treat. You should come." I almost said no. It was my routine to go home, eat alone, and review the next day's plans. But something in his genuine invitation made me hesitate. I looked at him, and for the first time, I saw the exhaustion in his eyes too. Yet he was still smiling, still trying to connect. So, I said yes. That night was a revelation. We went to a small, hidden gem of a Filipino restaurant in Satwa. The air was filled with the smell of garlic rice and sizzling adobo, and the sound of laughter. Leo introduced me to his friends, a vibrant group of Filipino expats from all walks of life: nurses, teachers, artists. They welcomed me with open arms, asking me about my life, my family, my dreams, not my job title or my latest project. They shared their food, their stories, and their music. Leo, it turned out, was an amazing singer and played the guitar beautifully. As he played a folk song from his province, he explained the lyrics. It was a song about community, about finding joy in simple things, and about the importance of family, or pamilya. He told me how much he missed his family back home, how he sent most of his salary to support them, and how his dream was to one day build them a beautiful house. There was no bitterness, no complaint, only love, and a quiet sense of purpose that I, with all my material success, had never truly felt. I found myself opening up in a way I hadn't in years. I told them about the pressure I was under, the loneliness of my life, the feeling that I was just a cog in a giant, glittering machine. No one judged me. Instead, they listened. Leo put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Ahmed, my friend, a building is strong not because of one big pillar, but because of many parts working together. Life is the same. You don't have to carry it all alone." That night changed everything. Leo and I became inseparable. He dragged me on adventures I never would have considered. We went dune bashing in the desert, not in a luxury SUV, but in his friend's beat-up old truck, laughing our heads off. We explored the spice souk in old Dubai, haggling with vendors and getting lost in the maze of alleyways. He taught me how to cook his mother's chicken adobo recipe, and I taught him how to make a proper Emirati makbut. He showed me his world, a world built, not on concrete and steel, but on relationships, shared experiences, and mutual support. His community was his foundation. When a friend was sick, they would all pitch in to cook meals. When someone lost their job, they would pool their resources to help until they were back on their feet. They called this spirit bayanahan, a sense of communal unity and cooperation. It was the most beautiful and powerful structure I had ever witnessed, stronger than any skyscraper. Through Leo, I reconnected with my own culture, my own family. I started calling my parents more, visiting my relatives on weekends. I realized I had been so focused on building a legacy of towers that I had neglected to build a legacy of love and connection. A couple of years later, our big project was complete. It was a masterpiece of engineering, a new jewel in Dubai's crown. At the celebration gala, amidst all the executives and VIPs, I found Leo standing by the window, looking out at the city. I stood next to him, and for a moment, we were a silent, just two engineers looking at what we had helped create. I turned to him and said, "Leo, thank you. You taught me how to build more than just buildings." He just smiled that familiar, warm smile and replied, "And you, Ahmet, you helped me build my family's dream." He showed me a picture on his phone. It was a beautiful, newly constructed house in the Philippines, with his parents smiling proudly on the porch. My friend had achieved his goal. Soon after, Leo's contract ended, and he decided it was time to go home to his family for good. Our farewell was not sad. It was a celebration. At the airport, surrounded by the Filipino community that had become my second family, we hugged. It wasn't the formal handshake of colleagues. It was the embrace of brothers. I still work as an engineer in Dubai. I still build skyscrapers. But now, I see the city differently. I don't just see glass and steel anymore. I see the hands that built it. I hear the stories of the people within it. And I feel the heartbeat of the communities that give it life. I learned from a cheerful engineer from the Philippines that the strongest foundations are not made of concrete, but of kindness, community, and connection. My life is no longer colorless. It's vibrant, it's full, and it's rich with friendships. And I owe it all to Leo. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more stories about the amazing people who make our world a better place. See you next time.